I would like to share with you the challenges that our sanitation heroes face across the sanitation service chain. So I want to present to you the, I hope everyone can see my video or my presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, so I would want to share with you the challenges that they face when they are delivering their services, and I would want to focus much on the effects that solid waste has on the provision of services in Zambia. So when we look at fecal sludge management in Zambia, this was an intervention which was started in 2011 as a pilot project. And from there, since 2016, it has been rolled out through the Lusaka Sanitation, through Lusaka Water, and through the Lusaka Sanitation Program, where now we are doing city-wide sanitation upscaling. So when you look at the provision of FSM in Zambia, the provision of services has faced challenges, much of which come from solid waste that is found in our sludge. So when we look at on-site sanitation in Zambia, when we talk about sludge, we are mainly talking about two types of sludges. There's one type of sludge which is coming from pit latrines, and the other type of sludge which is coming from septic tanks and cesspools. So we wanted to look at what is the effect that solid waste has on the provision of services, and then we took the case study approach in this study. So the study identifies the challenges of fecal sludge along the service chain, but at some point we also look at the value chain. So the first approach that we took is we measured the type of and the content of solid waste that is coming from the on-site sanitation facilities. Then we also analyzed data coming from 10,004 households across 3 peri-urban areas, that is like Chazanga on the northern part of the city, Chawama on the southern part of the city, and George, which is kind of in the southwest of the city. And then we analyzed the different types of emptying tools that is used to remove sludge from the on-site sanitation facilities, which we started with the Gaupa, the Flexcavator, the EVAC from South Africa, and then we also analyzed the modified garden tools, which we mainly use when we are emptying pit latrines. We also did surveys with fecal sludge service teams and managers of fecal sludge treatment plants to understand the challenges that they are facing when it comes to sludge treatment, reuse, and disposal. So when we first go to the households, we wanted to understand how do they manage their solid waste. And much of the solid waste, we found that it's much managed on site by the households. They usually dig like trenches or pits in which they throw the solid waste, and when these pits get full, they bury them. In cases where they are dealing with types of waste which they do not want their neighbors to see, much of it is burned and some of it is thrown into on-site sanitation facilities. But where services for solid waste exist, you find that households which are able to pay, they are inclined to paying for these services so that the solid waste gets away from their premises. So when we analyze this in relation to the services of on-site and fecal sludge management, we found that about 80% of the studied peri-urban households rely on pit latrines, and approximately 20% use flush systems. And these 20% who rely on flush systems, they have either septic tanks or cesspools as their containment facilities. And when it comes to solid waste management, in whichever case you look at, you find that a minimum 1% of the solid waste generated in peri-urban areas end up in pit latrines. So this 1% is the one which I mentioned to say those house, there are certain components, some of them which are cultural, which like households, when they are producing them, they do not want their neighbors to see them. They throw them into sanitation facilities and they end up in containment facilities. And we also did a test of how much solid waste is actually ending up at fecal sludge treatment plants, and we found that an average 150 kd per cubic meter of sludge that is reaching the treatment plant is solid waste. So when it comes to emptying, emptying, you find that solid waste increases the emptying time. So when we analyze even like the facilities which are likely to succeed in emptying our on-site sanitation facilities, that is the modified garden tools, you realize that in pits in which like there's not much solid waste, they're able to empty them faster. But in pits which have like various content of solid waste, the time could even be multiplied by a factor of 4. So in our field test, all technologies, starting from the FlexX, the EVAC MK3, the GAUPA, they all failed at one point or the other due to solid waste. Especially when it comes to tools which are using electrical components were likely to fail due to the load factor that solid waste is bringing on board. Then also there are certain times where you find like even the size of solid waste that is around, that needs to be removed from these facilities is too huge for it to be sucked to go into the transporting vessel. So in most aspects, you find that during emptying, you even require to dilute the pit latrine sludge so that at least it's able to flow. And in this one, when you have to dilute the sludge, it means that you are increasing the cost of emptying, because these households, they sometimes access water through kiosks, and for you to empty this, to empty the sludge, they need maybe to provide about 200 liters of water, which needs to be paid for. And also pits, sometimes due to the presence of solid waste, they cannot be nicely emptied. Hence, they had to be punctured maybe in the corner or maybe on the slab, and therefore compromising on the future integrity of the on-site sanitation facilities. And when these practices are being done, it's also hazardous to our heroes, because when they are puncturing the slabs, sometimes there would be like concrete tips which are likely to fly out at high velocity and hit them. Even if it's not them, maybe somebody who's standing by and maybe they are not putting on protective gears. Also, due to the presence of fecal sludge or solid waste in the pits, you find that they are also exposed to other ailments which are likely to cause them harm, such as maybe some laser blades which are found in there, some needles which are found in there. So the sludge emptying is largely affected with the presence of solid waste in the pits. When it comes to treatment, you find that treatment of sludge with solid waste is very difficult. Our pilot projects had huge challenges because of solid waste, because this solid waste has to be considered as highly hazardous. Hence, even like when it's nicely separated and put somewhere for drying and transportation, for you to take it to the dump site, you need someone who's registered with the transportation of hazardous materials, because as we all know in our industry, we are in an industry which is a public health concern. Hence, when it comes to just like transporting the solid waste to the dump site, this solid waste has to be put in a special area where maybe trucks which are coming from malls and these supermarkets, because they are scavengers at dump sites. Hence, you do not want that this solid waste which came from pit latrines, which came from fecal sludge treatment plants, is dumped at the same point as where materials coming from supermarket is being dumped. And also, when it comes to treatment of sludge, the requirement is tripled due to the presence of solid waste, because the solid waste has to be washed out of the sludge, and this increases the treatment facility, the treatment processes. Also, this means when you are sizing the treatment plant, you also have to size it maybe 2 to 3 times more than required, because when you are washing out this solid waste, you find you have to put in fresh water, and this fresh water, it means you are actually increasing on the hydraulic load of the plant. And also, for you to deal with this.
Sorry to disturb you. I'm so sorry. We're running a bit
Yeah.
behind schedule, so if you could please wrap up within the next 3 minutes, that would be great. Sorry to disturb
All right,
you.
okay. Thank you. And also, the solid waste, for you to manage it, it means you have to put in extra resources. Hence, 5% of the income that is generated from households for emptying services is allocated to the management of solid waste. So lessons learned. The solid waste thrown in pits by household is mostly lacking solid waste management options. Hence, if options for solid waste management are incorporated in the provision of services, provision of fecal sludge management services, you find that the industry will even thrive, as technologies will even be advanced when it comes to emptying. Even treatment will be faster. Then, in terms of operations and maintenance of facilities, facilities will likely be operated conveniently. If solid waste is separated from the source, it does not end into our on-site sanitation facilities. So the recommendation when it comes to provision of fecal sludge management services, also looking at our sanitation ELOs, is that there need to be community awareness on solid waste, and solid waste management services needs to be provided everywhere where on-site sanitation facilities are existing. And also, solid waste management must be planned for in future FSM projects. That is, systems that enhance solid waste management services must be developed. Services such as maybe tariff bundling, where maybe the people who are providing fecal sludge management services are also providing solid waste management services, so that these two, they do not mix up in the on-site sanitation facilities, and this will make the life of our practitioners easy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aubrey, for that insightful presentation. We hope that everyone learned something from it. Please do check out the film. I linked it in the, oh, let me turn my video on. In the chat box, please do view their film, which delves more into the sanitation situation in Lusaka, Zambia. Next, I'm going to invite Abel Kame to please start your presentation and tell us more about your amazing work and animations. Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michaela. Thank you for the invitation. So I'm Abel Kwame. I'm producer and director in an animation studio based in Abidjan. We produce feature film, TV series, and very short content for different digital platforms. So we are very happy for the prize, the silver prize, and thank you very much. So for Coco and the Magic Glass is the project and the concept of the Swiss Center of Research. So they send us a demand for a production for a short film. So because they are make a lot of research around the sanitary situation in the center, west, east, and north of Côte d'Ivoire, because sometimes in some village there is not sanitary disposition. We have not restroom. They make all the thing that they need to think outside of the room, because they have not restroom in the room. They make it in the forest or something like that. So the project is to make a short film of 3 minutes to share and to see what is the danger to make to go in the restroom outside of the house. So that is the concept of the Coco. So we begin the work to think to bring or to create the story. So we have made I can show my screen. Good. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see. Thank you.
Okay. So Coco and the Magic Glass is, like I said, a short film. So you have begun the concept to create the different character, and we have write the script. You have not a scientific, of not a technician of sanitary facilities. So we have just worked on the artistic concept of the problem of sanitary situation. So we are first begin by the script, the stories, and after we have begun the character design of the different character. Coco is the main character right here. So he's the young boy, 7-year-old, and he have a friend. We have 2 friends, Tika and Julian, and there is the 3 main character of our story. So there is also the Dr. Medicam. Dr. Medicam is is a very important character, because this guy explain what is the problem when you decide to go outside of the room, outside to make to go to, I don't need to say shit, but to go to shit and make something like that. You have also the Papa Popomi. Papa Popomi is the father of the young main character, Coco, and he one of the leader of the village. So he is one of the guys who think and say that we have not obliged the people in the village are not obliged to have a restroom inside the house. So it's one of the main opponents to all the disposition you can have around sanitary facilities. After you have the different character inside the body, in the skin, in the blood, sorry, and different virus and other character. So we are also opponents. So the concept of the story is to say that Coco will receive by Dr. Medicam a glasses. So it's a magic glasses, and these glasses help our heroes to go in the body, in the blood, to see what is the different problem that we can have when we have not a good sanitary disposition. So he will see, he will go first in the blood of his friend Julian to see what is the different situation. Sometimes Julian is sick because he have a virus inside, because he have made a sheet is in a very bad situation. And after our main character, our hero will go to the village and talk to all the guys in the village and help them to create the good condition, build a restroom inside the different house. So what is the synopsis of the story. And for the production, we are begin by the script first. I will show you another screen. So to do that, we have a pipeline of production, because like I said, we are not a technician of sanitary research. So we have a creative director and a producer. So to make the production of the film, our pipeline is first find the idea and begin write the script and research, take the different documentation that we can have to the Swiss Center of Research, and finalize the budgets and the funding. And that is the first step of the production, is the development. And after we go to the pre-production, the pre-production is when we have the story right here, the script and the story, we go to the storyboard. The storyboard look like a comic book, because we make an illustration to show to the director what the different scene look like because we make some we draw the different character in the different situation. And we are also the mood board. The mood board, like just here, help us to see what style of production, what style of picture, what technique we need to have. And for that, we take different production for over character, over studio, to see if this technique is good for our production. And we have different steps, like in the production, in the pipeline that you can see. We have the research, graphic research, and the concept art. You have the casting, because sometimes everybody thinks that we must make animation first, and after we take the different character to take the voice. It's not true. The reality is that we begin first by the casting. We make the casting for the different actors to take the voice, and after that we go we begin the animation. So when we finalize the casting of the different character, the graphic, the concept art, the storyboard, we can begin now the animation. So we make also all the R&D development and research, because, for example, for the project of Coco and the Lunet magic glasses, we need to see how we can recreate an environment in the blood of a body. So we need to see if you can make it like in the water, or if we can, or if we can recreate it like in the real life. So, and what can, if you can make grass, if you can make simulate water, that's all this element is in the research and development. And we are also character design and UV and texturing, rigging and skinning of the different character. The rigging is because, like you must know, is that's the main element when you make animation, like Coco and the Lunet magic glasses. Coco and the magic glasses is the 3D animation. So to make the 3D animation, you must create a character like a puppet in the computer, with the computer. And for that, we have different software that we use, like Maya, Autodesk Maya, Unreal, and different software that we have. And to make the animation, we must make the rigging and the skinning of a different character, because we must animate the puppet with the computer. So after the pre-production step, we go to the production step. The production step is the, like you can see, the main step when we have in production is the animation, right here. Like you can see, all the elements go to the animation step. So animation is one of the biggest step when you produce an animation. So we make animation, we begin the background, different area of the to bring after the different character in the environment. You have the different simulation when we make the production. And after we take all that and we bring it to the rendering. And we begin the pre-composition, because we export the different layer of the production. We export the rendering of the character, we export the background, and so we have different layer for different kind of element of the production of the scene.
Sorry, Abel, sorry to disturb you. Please can you wrap up in the next 2 minutes, and we can ask more questions. You can in the
Yes.
Q&A session.
So at the last time you have the compositing. So in the compositing, we bring animation, we bring the sound, we bring all the elements, the music, and after that you make the final rendering. So that is the different step to produce, and that is the different step that we are used to make Coco and the magic glasses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abel. I find these things so interesting, and I have a few questions of my own, but I'll save them for the end because I'm really curious on how we can use animation to spread more awareness about certain issues within sanitation. I know I have questions. Anyway, We shall move
Okay.
on to our final speaker, Aditi from CEP University, who submitted another excellent film following the journey of Sinar city in India. But I will leave Aditi to explain more about that, and I'll post the video link in the chat box. So look out for that. Aditi, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Aditi and I represent, let me just share my screen, give me a second. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I represent the Center for Water and Sanitation at CEP University, which is a university focused on human habitat. And at the Center for Water and Sanitation, the project on Sinnar is a part of a whole host of sanitation projects where we have been supporting state and city governments improve sanitation in their city, and we have particularly focused on FSSM, fecal sludge and septage management. When we talk about sanitation in India, we know about the Clean India mission or the Swachh Bharat mission, which has achieved significant success in making India open defecation free. And the next stage for India, where the government is focusing on the entire sanitation value chain, along with safe collection, treatment, and reuse as part of the second phase of some of its flagship missions like Amrut 2.0 and SBM 2.0. Now, while in India, while many cities do have sewer networks, most small and medium towns, so not Delhi or not Mumbai or Bangalore or Chennai, the majority of cities in India are small and medium towns, and they are dependent on fully on on-site systems. And as per the last census in India, about 48% of the urban households were dependent on systems like septic tanks, which are not connected to networks. And there are a host of other challenges in sanitation for Indian cities, such as lack of technical know-how with the city government, especially in the smaller cities. There are limited financial resources. Cities do not have enough to money to fund large infrastructure projects such as big sewage treatment plants or sewage systems. There are issues with manual scavenging, even though it is not allowed as per the law in India. And uh, again, we have to, when we talk about citywide inclusive sanitation, we have to look at ensuring gender and social equity, and also monitoring and regulating the private sector. So these are some of the issues that are there in sanitation for Indian cities. Now, if we come to Sinnar city, and we have been working with this city since 2012-13, my organization has been supporting this city improve its sanitation for a long time. Sinnar is a very fast growing town, and it has a flourishing industrial district. Why we decided to make a movie on the sanitation journey of the city was, firstly, it is a good way to showcase the work from the funder perspective and also the city government perspective. uh, but for us, it's more important from the perspective of advocacy, and we can use it as a capacity building tool. And this movie, we have shown to other cities in the state, we have shown it to higher levels of government, we've shown it to partners who like us are supporting other cities across India. And we've shown it at international conferences such as the FSMA conference, and we've even shown it to students to create capacity to, and also spread the knowledge about the innovations that we have and what works in Sinnar. Now, the ideas that we have tried out in this city have become sort of models for FSSM across Maharashtra, which is the state that Sinnar is situated in, and across India. And we've moved from comprehensive city sanitation planning right in the beginning to, Sinnar being one of the first two cities in India to implement scheduled desludging of septic tanks, and now more to, citywide and inclusive sanitation. And these are some of the concepts we have demonstrated. When we started working in the city, we our idea was to address the full sanitation value chain, which is from access, collection, conveyance, treatment to reuse. There was open defecation in the city, and there were high dependency on community toilets. However, this was later on, addressed by the Clean India mission and the city's own, pioneer toilet subsidy programs. But what I'm going to talk about is the rest of the sanitation value chain, and there were issues with septic tanks. Not enough septic tanks were being desludged. There was no treatment facility, and the city had only one truck. And as you can see, the septage at that time was disposed of at the solid waste dumping site without treatment on the ground. So it was a very, alarming issue. With the help of the Swachh Bharat mission and the toilet subsidy program, Sinnar was declared ODF, open defecation free, in 2017, which means that everybody had access to either individual household toilets or toilet facilities in their vicinity. Next, and even while this was happening, the city started thinking about how to take care of the rest of the service chain, and uh, the city government rolled out this government resolution which said that we are going to implement citywide fecal sludge and septage management. We will involve the private sector, which means there will be a budget component for it. We will allocate land for a treatment facility, and we will levy some taxes, which is a big sort of commitment to get from the city. And this has helped to sustain our efforts, even though leaders will change or chief officers will change. The most important thing they agreed to do here was that they said we will do scheduled emptying of septic tank. And when I talk about scheduled emptying as an innovation, uh, it came from our of us recognizing the need for a systemic change. And the idea was that the current practice of desludging in Indian cities is not a public service the way sewerage systems and door to door solid waste management is. And it is more of a complaint redressal model, so which leads to a low frequency of desludging, and that in turn leads to uh, high cost of desludging, and then discourages regular desludging, and there are environmental impacts, and then that in turn affects the increased chances of manual scavenging. So what we introduced was scheduled desludging, where a schedule will be made for 3 years, and every septic tank in the city will be serviced, will be emptied over the course of this cycle. uh, this required more trucks, more trucks, and which which the city government sort of addressed by contracting it out to a private desludger. uh, Now the question of emptying charges. So earlier the city was charging 1,000 rupees per trip, and now with this scheduled desludging, one of the most important things uh, that was done was delinking it from a user charge, so which made the service very much inclusive. So uh, the point was that this will be a public service. It will, so which means that it will be given to everyone in the city, irrespective of whether irrespective of anything. It will be mandatory, so all septic tanks will be desludged, but it will not be linked to a user charge. So at the time of desludging, there will be no cost involved. Instead, this was funded through a small sanitation tax, which was made part of the sort of property taxes that each property in the city gives to the city government. And in this way, it sort of looks like a notionally free sort of service, and which helps to increase uptake of the service. There was special care to service vulnerable areas such as slum areas, or areas, very congested areas that are within narrow lanes where trucks can't reach. And we've been very careful to especially have these long pipes. uh, And that's how this service is inclusive. Awareness generation has been a key feature for success of high uptake of the services, and there have been, door to door awareness initiatives, wall paintings, these leaflets, information leaflets on what is expected, what you need to look at when the desludges come to your house. There was this video that was circulated on local WhatsApp groups, and we tried out this SMS intimation that tomorrow, 2 days later, is your turn. So those sort of things. We've also tried to tried IT enabled monitoring systems, so digital monitoring systems, and we have these kind of dashboards which show how many households have been emptied, and a host of other information points. Now, to because scheduled the sludging was done, and earlier there was no treatment, now there was increased septage, the increased amount of septage being generated. So the city set up this fecal sludge treatment plant, which was inaugurated along with on the first day of scheduled desludging. So it was ready right from the beginning. This is a 70 KLD treatment plant, and the best thing was that this was funded by the city's own funds, and city managed to use some of the grants, regular grants received to all cities, and develop this FSTP by engaging a private operator through a design, build, operate sort of contract. This treatment plant is not just a facility. We've tried to develop this into a resource center, because Sinnar hosts a lot of visitors who come to see the sanitation innovations. So there's a resource facility here. There is landscaping around the area, and this is sort of a sanitation resource park is what we like to call it. This is fully self-sufficient with solar energy, and it is sort of, we like to call it, it is net zero facility. And there are again more digital monitoring systems for trying to look at treatment quality parameters. Now, like I said, there is landscaping on the site of the pickle sledge treatment plant, and the treated water that is generated, that is not thrown away. So it is reused for development of a garden. And if you can see at the back, there's a urban forest, 8,000 square meters of urban forest and landscape area has been developed in the midst of a barren land. So if you see this very green image, this was not green before. Earlier, if you see the before site, this is a very rocky area, and due to reusing this green water and trying to do this landscaping and developing this urban forest, this area has been transformed, and it has, there have been environmental and social benefits. So the area has become greenified, and biodiversity has increased in terms of the birds and the species, the flora and the fauna. Now, the management or the maintenance of this landscape and urban area is formally contracted to this women's group by the city government, who are also given handholding support and trainings, but then they are tasked with maintaining this, and that sort of gives them builds their capacity and also gives them a livelihood. And so far, 16 million liters, more than 16 million liters of water has been reused. And if we look at the urban forest, so an equivalent of 21,000 kg of CO2 has been sequestered in the trees by reusing this gray water and the by reusing this treated water and the solid products. We've also worked on sanitation worker safety, so that is also a component of our program. And while we take care to track and check and monitor that proper protective equipment is used during desludging, we've also done a lot of trainings, health camps, and looking at in the clauses the contract clauses which ensure, some social benefits and their safety. We've also worked on empowering women for inclusive FSSM service delivery. So we've done trainings for elected women representatives. So in Maharashtra, there are laws that ensure that the elected leaders have equal representation of women. But many a times the women that get elected do not know a lot about what is happening in the city, and they are not equipped to be, very active decision makers. So that is something we've done. We've tried to do with them by letting them know about the sanitation work in the city. Now now that the city, which was fully dependent on on-site systems, so there were no sewer network. Now that on-site systems are well taken care of, there was the issue of gray water. So the effluent from the treatment plant, and the water from bathrooms, which is not toilets and kitchens, that would flow in drains, in open drains in the city, and then just eventually connect to one of the local streams, uh, river streams. What the city has done is they have been implementing this IND network, which is basically interceptor and diversion. So they intercept the open drains or nalas, and then that is diverted, and which may in the future be treated through a proper gray water treatment plant. But for now, we've piloted this gray water treatment plant, this again small scale treatment plant which collects gray water from certain this particular locality, and again, like the FSTP, the wastewater is the treated water is reused to develop this park. This facility is again fully powered by solar energy, and because of the success of the women's group at the FSTP, uh, here another women's group has been contracted uh, to work at this pilot grey water treatment facility. And this is more of slightly more technical work, but uh, they have been very successful. We've also worked in improvement in school sanitation. So individual toilets was part of the earlier program, but then if children have toilets at home but not in their schools, that's a problem. So we demonstrated this crowdfunding campaign where we floated this crowdfunding campaign on an online platform, and this upgraded, you can see these old toilets and the new toilets that were upgraded in this school, women, girls and boys toilets. We found that around 40% of the donors in this crowdfunding campaigns were residents of Sinnar. So that was a very encouraging thing. And lastly, there was a proposal, now that open defecation has stopped. There was a proposal to develop this old OD spot, open defecation spot, common OD spot, into a beautiful public space to discourage reverting to old habits. And this plan was developed that this area will, near the lake, will be converted into a beautiful garden, and there will be a sand pit and jungle gyms and a kids play area. And now this project has also received funding as part of some of the new government initiatives. These are our partnerships and collaborations. And the lesson here is that this is not a one-off pilot or something that has been done in one city. We have taken these lessons, and because we are partners to the state government or the provincial government of in the state of Maharashtra, we have scaled these lessons through policy guidelines and through our networks to be done in more cities. And all the materials and all the tools we have developed are available to use in public domain. So that is the way we are trying to scale up lessons and the innovations from Sindar to other cities. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditi. That was a great presentation. All the presentations were great. And I think through each presentation, we've seen how obviously we've seen the work behind the videos that were submitted, but we've seen how films can entertain, how they can also educate, inspire, and inspire a call to action. As we've seen with the Zambia one, we've seen a great example of Sinar in this, which, I don't know, hopefully can be scaled throughout all of India one day, who knows. We've seen the Coco et les lunettes magiques, which is like entertainment, but also educational. So really, really great videos. And we have some questions. Baker, I acknowledge your question. I think it's been addressed in Aditi's presentation. The question was, is there any consideration for the manual empties in India? And I think she had some slides that covered that already. Aditi, if you want to answer that, go ahead, but you let me know. And then we have another question. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Safwatul asks, thanks for this wonderful presentation and achievements. Is there available specific standard for reusing the grey water for agricultural purposes and the same for solid sludge?
Okay, so for manual emptiers, for your information, manual scavenging or any interaction between human and feces is not allowed in India. It's unlawful in India, and there's a manual scavenging rehabilitation and prohibition of manual scavenging act in India, due to which government has been working on efforts like machine based emptying and suction trucks have been funded and have been encouraged. Use of proper protective equipment is required, and it is also part of under the Clean India mission. There is this annual survey that happens, or an annual sanitation surveys that happen, and it's part of the checklist of that survey, and cities are sort of marked on it. So that's how there is no provision. It's not allowed in India per se, even though it remains a reality. But government has been working towards it. In terms of for the second question, so we have something called disposal standards for wastewater in India. There is nothing for reuse, so that the disposal standard would be between 10 to 30 BOD, and nothing for solid sludge. So there are no standards like that.
Okay, thank you. If anyone has any more questions, please feel free to ask. I have a question quickly for Abel, in regarding to your fantastic animation. Are you still there, Abel?
Yeah.
So if like any organization wants to get in touch with you to develop like an animation, like how does it work? Are you available for commissions, or are you really like focused on anything specific? But if someone wants to work with you, how would they go about that, and what would that look like, and how long will it take?
The production take for this project we have take I think 1 year.
Okay.
Between the finalization of the script go to the centers of the research and go back to the studio. So there is a lot of communication around the script, and after we begin to see how we can adapt the concept for the animation. We work to the teams, what team we will take, how many guys for the production. So yeah, we can easily go to one year for the production.
Okay. And just to put the methodology, so you're available to work on different animated projects?
Yes, of course, we have very open.
You all know now.
Yeah.
This is the guy to come to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Abel. Okay, we have a question from Baker. I think for Aditi. He's asking if there are places in which they are inaccessible to those pits that are solid and can't be emptied by a cesspool truck. What's the solution on this? So Aditi, are there areas where okay, you just answered it. Never mind. Never mind. If there are any more questions, please do send them through. If there are none, we will wrap up in the next few minutes. So now is your chance to ask any burning questions you may have had. Okay. Well, oh, that's a good question. How were the films received in your own countries? So Aubrey, Abel, Aditi, would you like to, how were the films received in your countries? Abel, you can go first.
Yes, for my project, the first we have present the short film first to in different villages around the countries. So all the guys in the villages appreciate the production, and they make the different feedback to the Center Swiss of Research. And after we have shared the short to our YouTube channel. And today I think we have more than 2 million viewers for this video. And the main viewers for the video is I think 30% come to Ivory Coast, and the rest of the viewers go to West Africa, South Africa, Europe, and something like that. So yeah, I think that there is we have a very good feedback for this project.
Yeah. Yeah, we also saw that you have 1.5 million subscribers to your YouTube channel. So
yeah,
that's
sure.
great. That's great.
Yes. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Aubrey, would you like to speak on how the video was received?
It received tremendous applause from the communities, especially because when we're talking about our sanitation workers, it's more like a job which has been stigmatized, but it's now coming out that these are actual heroes in our communities. For you to be a hero, you don't need to be a banker, you don't need to be an engineer. Somebody who's providing you a service which is saving lives is the actual hero. Yeah. So we have 500,000 views up to now. Yeah. And I wasn't even aware that we won gold. I just got some congratulations because I was not at the FSM conference. Then I was like, what are you congratulating me about at all? Actually, the video that you produced actually won gold at the FSM conference.
That's great. Did you say 500,000 views?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I didn't know that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Aditi, any comments from you about how the film was received?
Yes, I've already talked about how we have, sort of used these movies as an advocacy or a capacity building tool, and we don't have, the comparable views. But then, the way we have shown our videos, is that if we are doing training, divisional trainings, which has been attended like by like people from 50 cities, then that movie is shown there, and that sort of inspires and gives ideas to similar cities which have similar problems or are of the similar scale. There is also the matter of prestige for the people that are stakeholders that are featured in the movie, in terms of them being giving interviews and them being shown as the model to higher levels of government or even to their peers. So that way the movies have been very successful.
That's great. Yeah, you don't need a lot of views for a video to be effective, like at all. But yes, congratulations. We're gonna take just one more question. I see Suresh, you have your hand raised. You can unmute and ask your question, and then we'll wrap up.
Hi, good morning. Just wanted to take this opportunity to, first of all, congratulate all these contributors for today's webinar and FSMA for putting this together. And wanted to say that, based on some experience, saying that there are different type of people and different type of audience for different type of dissemination channels. So there is a large number of viewers who are going to disseminate this, but there are also different channels how the findings and the work which is being done on the ground can also be translated into different kind of dissemination channels. For example, I would like to take this opportunity to invite the creators of the videos to submit this in a written format. For example, I lead the Inclusive Urban Sanitation Initiative Urban Stories, where we put up on the web pages and also in a 5-6 page summary of the findings. One good example that I've already on the sides of in the chat, I've invited Aubrey about this thing that the basic learning which I'm finding is the connection between solid waste and the FSM, which usually is not being talked about, that in the low and medium income countries, like drainage, solid waste, as well as sanitation, they go hand in hand. And there is a community who are involved in pushing this agenda on FSM, which needs to understand that the integration and is one of the key element for scaling up and amplifying the agenda. So sanitation does not mean only just fecal sludge, but it means drainage, solid waste, and water connection. I think one good message I got it from this, but yes, would like to invite all the three speakers to the IWA Inclusive Urban Sanitation Initiative, where you can put out this in a different format, whatever you are putting through a video, because there are different readers and different kind of communities which benefit from this. Thank you very much for giving a chance.
Thank you. A great opportunity. Thank you, Suresh. Thank you very much. So you've exchanged emails with everyone. They know your email address? Yeah,
and I'll also put the link of my initiative onto the chat box, so everybody can access it for all.
Okay. Please post it as soon as possible, because we're going to wrap up very, very, very shortly.
I'm just doing it right away.
Thank you so much. And then we also have Sandrine, who is working on a project for her YouTube channel dedicated to sanitation. So if anyone would like to reach out to Sandrine for some guidance, Sandrine, I will email you as well. But Sandrine, please link your email. Put your email in the chat so people can get through to you. But yes, I'm going to wrap up now. So please put everything in the chat box before we close. Thank you again for the wonderful, wonderful presentations, for the great films. This is such a wholesome webinar, a lot of information, a lot of inspiration. Thank you to the three organizations and people who submitted your films. Thank you for all the wonderful work that you do, and I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. I hope we stay connected to see what you're up to. And if ever you want to host a webinar here, reach out. I'm sure we would love to host you. Yes, thank you for everyone who dedicated an hour and 17 minutes. Thank you for staying with us, even though we ran over. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, we're going to wrap up now. Have a good day, evening, morning, wherever you are. And stay tuned for our next webinar next month. We're going to be talking to some colleagues from Lebanon who have collected some FSM data that's actually helped prevent the spread of cholera in their community. So it's going to be a very interesting webinar. So make sure to register for that when the information becomes available. Yes, I'm going to leave the room open just for a few more minutes to get all the emails and your contacts and everything. But I bid you adieu. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed. Thanks. Bye.